ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Academy graduation for class 1903. My name is Sergeant Swenson. I'm a sergeant at the Police Academy. In a little bit, our command staff will process in. When your loved ones come forward to get their certificates, if you could, stay where you're at in your seats. We have a professional photographer that will take professional photographs, and all the officers will be provided those photographs right after that. So you don't have to worry about any of the pictures. Just enjoy the ceremony, clap for your new officer, and we'll get started. If you guys could please stand for the command staff and then remain standing when class 1903 processes in behind them. Thank you. Academy colors are borne by Police Officer David Tatuska.
Class 1903, ready for graduation, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here with us. My name is Stan Stovall, and I want to thank Police Commissioner Michael Harrison for inviting me to be your MC for this very special occasion for these graduates. At this time, let's call on Detective Nigel Rose, who will sing our national anthem, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll please remain standing. Thank you.
Man, class, detail, ready, pace, present, who?
And now the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Who? Man, class, detail. Ready. Front. Uncover. 2.
Our invocation today will be given by a true friend of the Baltimore City Police Department. Please welcome Imam Earl Al-Amin of the Muslim Community Cultural Center. Amin.
Good afternoon, and peace be upon you. Let us pray. With God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, O creator of all things, evolver of all things, known by many names, who has spoken to all people in all times. We gratefully acknowledge your presence with us here today, and we ask that you help us to say the words of truth in the face of the mighty, and to refrain from speaking ill in order to gain the applause of the weak. And do not let us accuse our adversaries of treachery, because their opinions oppose ours. Should you give us wealth, do not take away our happiness, and should you give us might, do not take away our wisdom. And should you give us success, do not take away our humility. And should you give us modesty, do not take away our sense of dignity. Teach us to love others as we love ourselves, and teach us to judge ourselves as we judge others. And teach us that forgiveness is one of the greatest steps towards strength. Do not curse us with the arrogance should we become successful, and neither with despair and hopelessness should we fail. O God, remind us always that our failure is the trial that precedes success. Should you take away our wealth, do let us keep our hopefulness. And should we fail, do let us keep the power of determination. And should you take away the blessing of good health, do let us keep the blessing of faith. O God, should we have harmed others, give us the courage to apologize. And should others have harmed us, do bless us with the courage to forgive. And we should forget you, O God. I beg that you should not exclude us from your compassion and your clemency, for surely you are the most compassionate, you are the most all-loving. We put our trust solely in you alone, and we ask that let the people say, Amen.
Amen. Man, class, detail. Ready. Seats.
Please be seated, everyone. Thank you. Again, my name is Stan Stovall, and with WBAL TV, and I have to admit it's been quite a while since I've had the honor to MC a graduation program for the Baltimore City Police Department, but it's good to see all of our new recruits. I had an opportunity to speak with several of them before the ceremony, and I was just sort of curious, just to a show of hands, a little conversation, and one of the little things that I found very interesting, a number of these recruits are from out of state, decided to come to Baltimore and begin their law enforcement careers, which I found very interesting and commendable on their parts. They realize that we have a job that needs to be done here, and they want to be a part of getting that job done. So I commend each of you for going through what you did for your training process and becoming members of the Baltimore City Police Department. At this time, it's my pleasure to bring up the 51st Mayor of the great city of Baltimore, the Honorable Bernard Jack Young. Mayor Young.
Good evening, and thank you, Stan. Before I go any further, I'd like to acknowledge all of the distinguished guests that are with us on the stage this afternoon, and to the family and friends of these very fine police officers. It is indeed a privilege for me to be here to see another successful graduating class of the Baltimore Police Department. Through this great accomplishment, you all have set a course to further strengthen the conditions of Baltimore City. And for this, I applaud and celebrate each of you representing the Baltimore Police Department graduation class of 1903. To all of the family, friends, and instructors that have challenged, encouraged, inspired, laughed, and cried with these men and women, supported them through the process, thank you for your commitment. To the class of 1903, you have chosen an influential profession, and you will become a part of communities throughout the city of Baltimore. Residents will look to you for safety, support, and service. I am confident that the training you have received and will continue to receive will cause you to become positive pillars within Baltimore City. Remain steadfast to your commitment and glean from your mentors and tenured leaders within the Baltimore Police Department. There remains a lot for each of you to learn, so ask questions and seek advice as often as you can. So be intentional about your own learning process and be intentional about becoming a trusted member of the community. Each of you are expected to continue raising the standards of the Baltimore Police Department. Do this by serving Baltimore City through constitutional policing and allowing your eagerness to be guided by the values of dignity and respect for self and others. I share the confidence of the Commissioner and your ability to fulfill your duties. I believe in you, and congratulations again. But before I step away, those of you who have come here from out of state, we have a great city, and I would like for you all to consider living in the city of Baltimore. We have developers who are willing to give breaks on your rent. We also have $2,500 that we give towards property tax so that you can be owners of properties in the city of Baltimore. And we're going to continue to grow the city and continue to pay the salaries that we want to pay the officers. It would be great if they would live here so they can contribute to the bottom line of the city of Baltimore. So look at Baltimore as a place to live. Okay? Congratulations.
I'm so glad he told you about the incentive packages, because I had forgotten, but there are a number of reasons why you want to take up residence in Baltimore City. It'll benefit you financially. All right. Thank you, Mayor Young. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Police Department's 41st Commissioner, Commissioner Michael Harrison, to say a few words at this time. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Stovall, and good morning and welcome to the graduation of BPD Recruit Class 1903. Thank you, Mayor Young, for your leadership. Thank you, Imam, for that prayer. I want to say thank you and recognize all of our distinguished guests. Our U.S. Attorney is here. We have a number of executives and elected officials that are here that want to congratulate you. Chief Ham of the Baltimore School Police Department and his deputy are here to celebrate one of their own who's graduating today. So many people are proud of you, and they are here to show their support. People who partner and work with us to help you get here and then support our work beyond measure. To the family and to the friends of the loved ones of this graduating class, a very special welcome to this academy graduation, because this is a very special day for the now police officers of Recruit Class 1903. It has been your family who has guided you and molded you and shaped you and cultivated you and developed you into the people you are today. And it is your family who will be with you when the days are long and the nights are long and tough. It will be your family who will see you through the challenging times. So at this time, we owe the families a round of applause, and we say thank you for giving them to us. I want to say a special thank you to the recruitment and the academy staff who are responsible for getting you through the application process and through your training leading to this day. A very special thank you. I am extremely proud and excited that you're graduating today. I think I'm becoming more proud with every graduating class, because as you graduate today, it's just a matter of time before you're asking to take on specialty assignments. Just a matter of time before you are applying for promotions. And then we, Chief Ham and I and others, we began to ask questions like, who among you will be the police commissioner? Because the road to the police chief and the commissioner's office starts today. It starts right now, and it starts right here. So your graduation is a sign that our department, unlike many across the country, is growing. Today represents hope. When it seems like our world is becoming worse because a few people are committing senseless acts of violence, whether right here in our own neighborhoods or anywhere else in the world, today represents that hope that a few of us are still willing to serve and protect the innocent from those who wish to do harm. That hope that a few of us are still willing to put our lives on the line, not for people we know, but more often than not for people we don't know. Today represents that hope that good will always prevail over evil. So your decision to enter this profession and to accept this calling at this time gives us all hope. You have entered into an elite class of humanity which few are called, and you should never regard your work as a job. And while sometimes you think this profession is your job, you actually accepted this calling, which is reserved for those who are willing to accept it with all of the honors and responsibilities that come with that calling. And now that you're a police officer, you will at times be called upon to do the unthinkable. And you will. Because you accepted this calling, you will be called upon to perform deeds that few will ever understand, appreciate, or ever be able to perform themselves. And you will do it with great honor, humility, and pride. And you will witness the worst atrocities imaginable and then be asked to handle with calm and care what no human should have to witness and bear. And you will do it with great courage, integrity, and professionalism. Because as of today, that is your duty. So while we see today's graduation, I see the defining moment wherein you become the angels that God will use to serve those in need, to protect those in danger, and to defend humanity from the evil whenever and wherever it exists. This calling means that we move toward danger rather than away from it. That when we are called, we actually come. But it also requires you to have the balance of unwavering courage that when we need it, and then having the compassion and sensitivity to handle even the most delicate and precious of all situations. Because we're a part of a community that we serve, and we never refer to ourselves as being outside of that community, and it is never us against them. And while at times the public might take things personal, you should not. So as you get dressed every day, remember that you represent far more than yourselves. You represent far more than your family. You represent an entire profession. You represent the calling that you accepted, and you represent the oath you are about to take. You represent a city and a police department that the country is watching, not because we're in a consent decree, but because the country is watching and waiting to see Baltimore and its police department turn around. But when I say that the country is watching, I say that because I envision a day not too far away where we will be the policing leaders in this country in crime reduction, technology, transparency, accountability, community engagement, best practices, innovation, reform, and so many other things. And instead of borrowing the newest and best thing from someone else, we are on the way to creating the newest and best thing that's actually shaping how policing is done in America. So as you serve and protect your community, remember always to honor your calling and protect the profession. So now we're charging you to do three things. In all things, do these three things. Number one, build relationships that were never built, improve our good relationships, and repair relationships that were broken. So as you go about your day, keep in mind that everything you do, every decision you make, that you always engage and speak with our citizens and our visitors, the way you handle their concerns, that you perform every part of your duty in a way that either builds new relationships, improves good ones, and repairs bad ones. And always, always remember that right is always right, even when no one else is doing it. Wrong is always wrong, even when everyone else is doing it. Thank you. Congratulations. Welcome to the new Baltimore Police Department and the greatest comeback story in America.
Thank you, Commissioner. And we're also honored to have with us tonight a true Baltimore gem. Many of you probably saw her on the air quite a bit a couple of years ago. We were having some problems in Baltimore City. She was front and center, along with a number of Baltimoreans, high-profile individuals, but she brought helped bring a sense of calmness to the city of Baltimore, and we're truly honored to have her with us. On January 21st of 2015, Governor Larry Hogan appointed her to serve as the first African-American and the first woman to serve as the 29th Adjunct General for the state of Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, Major General Linda Singh.
So first, I'd like to thank the mayor and the chief. Thank you so much. And it's always good to be in your presence here in the beautiful city of Baltimore. And so here's my message, because I just heard the chief talk about relationships. Here's the key thing. Most of us don't know how to raise our heads up from our phones to engage. Part of your responsibility is to engage. You are engaging the citizens of Baltimore, your family, your friends, someone like General Singh. You have answered the call. And your job is not that simple. You're going to have days where you're going to be like, I can't take it. You're going to have days where you think everyone is against you. But you have to be above all that. So while you've just came through all of your training, there are 5 things that I need you to think about. You need to bring this level of emotional intelligence that they don't necessarily teach you. But you need emotional intelligence to build meaningful relationships, to be able to understand the community in which you serve. The community that may or may not look like you, may or may not come from the same background as you. And those 5 things are: the first is you have to continue to do a self-assessment. You need to know yourself, where you are at all given times. You need to know what makes you tick. Because if you don't start with that, everything else falls apart. Then you have to do self-regulating. Self-regulating means that you are going to think about that situation, you're going to think about that person before you take the wrong move. And guess what? Sometimes you only have a second, which means if you practice these things, it becomes second nature. The third thing is that you have to have empathy. Right now, this city needs you. But they also need you to understand them. And you can only do that when you come from a place of empathy. That's a level of understanding. And then the next thing is you have to be motivated. If you are not motivated about doing your job every single day, if you don't get up and think, I have the best job in the world, because the ability to serve that's not something that anybody can do. You putting on this uniform is not something that anyone will do. So you need to be honored to serve. You need to be motivated about coming to work every single day and giving the best of you. And then let's talk about this thing of social. Get to know the community in which you work. Get to know some of the citizens and some of the leaders. Understand their needs. Understand our children. Because if you don't do that, who will? You can be the difference for someone like me. If it wasn't for someone giving a lending hand to what was then Linda Willis, someone knew that I was going astray. And someone cared enough to say, come on and take a look at the guard. You guys can do that and say, come on and take a look at Baltimore City. Look at the police department. And they got me early enough that I was able to come in, and here I stand 39 years later, having gone from a private all the way to a major general. But I couldn't have done that if someone like you didn't give me a hand. So here's the other thing is I have an affinity for the police. Because I know that we can do amazing things. And I say we, because you see, my daughter is a sergeant. in the Prince George's County Police Department. And she has been serving for almost 16 years. So this call to serve is deep. It is an honor. Hold your head high. Don't live in the media. Stick together as a team. If anyone can lead you to what this new policing is, it is the chief. Because he has done some amazing things in New Orleans. So you all need to believe in him. And you need to believe in the rest of your leadership. That they are going to have your best interests at heart, because you are going to have the citizens' best interests at heart. So God bless you. Go forth and be proud. Make us proud. And serve until your heart's desire. Thank you.
Generally, you make me want to sign up as a recruit. I think I'm too old, though. I just wanted to take a very brief moment to pick up on something the commissioner was talking about. It's about the impact of families. Families. Not only are you guys all a part of a family, but your family is a part of this family as well. The general mentioned she has a daughter who's a police officer. My dad was in law enforcement for 29 years. So I understand what it's like for the officers when they finish a beat. This is for you folks who, some of you probably have law enforcement in your family already, others don't. This will be a new experience for you. And some of the things you're going to have to get used to as they go out and do their jobs and they come home at the end of the day. First of all, family members have to worry about, will you come home at the end of the day? That's part of the job. You have that worry every day. They put their uniform on and walk out the door. Let's go right past that. They come home at the end of the day. Now, if they got small kids or things like that, you know, they want to talk to mom, they want to talk to dad. But you know what? Sometimes mom or dad, they're not in the mood to talk as soon as they walk in the door because of what they've gone through on the job. So there's going to be that period where, gee, why isn't mom or dad want to talk to us? Don't take it personally. They need some time to decompress from the time they walk in the door off the job, because you have no idea what they went through on the job. You'll also find, probably, like my dad oftentimes, he didn't want to talk about the job. I was always asking him, so what'd you do today? Did you arrest anybody? You know, young kids will ask questions like, did you shoot anybody? Anybody shoot at you? We didn't know any better. You know, did you have to lock somebody up? Whatever. Chances are they're not going to want to talk about that. They want to decompress from the day, catch their breath. They may open up to you later. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. There's a lot of emotions that go with being a law enforcement officer. So if they're not in a very talkative mood as soon as they walk in the day, give them some time to decompress. It'll go a long way for your relationships with your family members. Okay? All right. Next, the class address, which will be given tonight by the class valedictorian, Officer Connor Dixon. Connor?
Good evening, Commissioner Harrison, command staff, distinguished guests, family, and friends. Thank you all for being here. I'm honored to be representing my class by speaking this evening. This event is the culmination of lots of hard work and long days. When we first arrived at the Academy back in June, graduation felt like it would never come. As we contemplated our career choice from the front-leaning rest position, wearing our very fashionable black and white uniforms. We spent months learning the nuances of law, developing our driving skills at EVOC, drilling at the range, and sweating during defense tactics and PT. We developed as a class and as individuals. We learned to work as a team and to be confident officers. We wouldn't be here without the help of so many others. I'd like to thank the Academy staff and our class advisors for instructing and guiding us along the way to becoming competent officers. I'd like to thank all the family and friends that reassured and supported us during our time in the Academy. Lastly, I'd like to thank my classmates, everyone who made the Academy memorable. I'm confident that we're all here to make a difference and help the people of Baltimore. Thank you.
Again, Connor, congratulations on being class valedictorian. It's quite the honor. At this time, the Commissioner will lead the class in the oath of office.
Class, anthem, who? Covers, two.
Would you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, and recite your name,
Connor Dixon, David Tuska, Hunter Jewett, Buster Rosenberg,
Angelica Vitia,
Darnell Balaam, Sanjeev Dalal, Jonathan Dominguez,
Alexandra Evans,
Marty Fadiga, Tyler Fisher, Antoine Galloway, Kyle Essler,
Kaya Hill,
Antonio Johnson, Christian Magnus, Jesse Marrero, Henry Martinez, Pascal Montanez, Franklin Fitt,
Brittany Peterson,
Dylan Pereski, Ronald Vassell, Fernando Rosa, Vince Smith II, Kay Watts Stewart, Clifford Strickland, Ross Cook, Temp City, Avery Torran, Anobi Shadell.
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland and support the Constitution and laws thereof, and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of law enforcement officer according to the Constitution and the state of Maryland, to the best of my ability and judgment, so help me God. Would you help me congratulate the newest police officers of the Baltimore Police Department and Baltimore City School Police Department?
Congratulations, congratulations. Take your seats. And this brings us to the part of the program that you have all been working so very hard for. Well earned. Class 1903, officially transitioning from the classroom to field training. Commissioner Harrison, it's my honor to present to you the class of 1903. Now requesting that the certificates of graduation be presented to the members of the class of 1903, that's 2019-03, in case you're wondering, who are now designated police officers. Sergeant Kara Gladden will do the honors here.
Connor Dixon. The skills champion, David Tatuska. Our firearms champion, Hunter Jewett. Receiving the Commissioner's Award, Wesley Rosenberger. Receiving the Cassidy Award, Angelica Avitia. Darnell Balaam. Sanjeev Dalal. Jonathan Dominguez. Alexandra Ebner. Jordy Feliz. Tyler Fisher. Antoine Galloway. Kyle Hessler. Kaya Hill. Hunter Jewett. Antonio Johnson. Christian Magnus. Jesse Marrero. Henry Martinez. Jazeel Montanez.
Yeah, Mark.
Franklin Phipps. Courtney Peterson. Joseph Pineda. Dylan Poremski. Garnell Purcell. Orlando Rosa. School Police Officer Emmanuel Sinesi II. Kayvon Stewart. Clifford Strickland. Rostam Tamsiti. Avery Toran. Hanovi Tradell.
Ladies and gentlemen, your class of 1903. Big round of applause. Congratulations. You may take your seats. That was almost like a Simon Says moment there for you guys, wasn't it? Hey, he didn't tell us. Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now to present several class awards to officers. Some of them were briefly mentioned as you got your graduation certificates, but we want to specifically point out some people who have really distinguished themselves during their training. First, for the academic excellence, is presented to the class member with the highest overall academic average. The Academic Excellence Award for Class 2019-03 is presented to the officer we just heard from, your class valedictorian, Officer Connor Dixon, with an overall average of 96.5. These are photo ops. They actually gave out the awards earlier, but giving an opportunity to get those photos. All right, now we want to recognize once again the Skills Champion. This award presented to the officer with the highest average placement in the categories of defense tactics, physical training, and emergency vehicle operations. This year's Skills Champion for the class of 2019-03 with an average of 91.14, David Tutuska. David? Next award, Firearms Champion. This is one that's highly coveted, I would imagine, like you guys, right? Yeah. Presented to the officer with the highest overall firearms score. The Firearms Champion for the class of 2019-03 with an average firearms score of 99.5. Hunter Jewett. Hunter. Next, the Police Commissioner's Award of Excellence. This award decided by the training staff and based upon academic achievement, attitude, appearance, and the ability to supervise, as well as other characteristics shared by the finest police officers. And the Police Commissioner's Award of Excellence for the class of 2019-03, Officer Wesley Rosenberger. Congratulations. Next award, Cassidy Award, which was selected by members of the class of 2019-03. Is Agent Cassidy present?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. There you go. Sitting right next to me. Sorry. All righty. A little bit about Agent Cassidy. On October 22nd of 1987, Agent Gene Cassidy approached a person who he believed had committed an assault. While conducting the interview, the suspect drew a weapon and fired. Agent Cassidy was wounded and blinded as a result of that gunfire. But he chose not to become a victim that day. Instead, he went back to school. He earned a second degree in education from York College and later a master's degree from Johns Hopkins University. He also returned to the BPD, where he continues to serve as an academy instructor. The Cassidy Award is presented to the officer who, like Officer Cassidy, has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to professionalism and to the ability to motivate and inspire others. And the Cassidy Award for the class of 2019-03, Angelica Avita. Congratulations to all of our award honorees and again to all of our graduates. Commissioner?
So once again, congratulations to all of you. May God bless you. May God keep you safe. But to demonstrate the essence of community, I want to lead by example. So I invited members of our community to participate in this graduation. And just to say thank you to our keynote speaker and our MC and our faith leader. First of all, to our MC, Stan Stovall. Just a token of my appreciation. Token of our appreciation. He's a celebrity MC. He just says in grateful recognition for your service as our Master of Ceremony for our graduation class 1903 for the Baltimore Police Department, presented this third day of March 2020, Commissioner Michael Harrison. And thank you. To our keynote speaker, I actually talked to General Singh before she retired and asked her to do this. And she said yes a long time ago and has now delivered on that promise of being a true leader and being a true partner. I just want to say thank you. Token of our appreciation for your grateful service and participation in our graduation. Thank you so much. Thank you for your leadership. And to my good friend, Imam Earl El Amin, who is a member of my Interfaith Advisory Council. And so we have had an opportunity to meet with members of all faiths to get together and to talk about what we can do better, what the community needs, and how the community can be of support to us. And he's been a good friend and a good brother. Just a token of my appreciation for leading us in prayer in our graduation. So once again, thank you to all of you. Thank you for joining us. Now I'll turn it back over to our MC.
Well, it's been quite an afternoon for our graduates, for your families. Very special occasion. You will never forget this day, I guarantee that. That does conclude our program for tonight. I'd like to ask Imam Earl Al Amin to deliver our closing benediction.
Man, class, detail. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, please stand.
Let today serve as a powerful reminder for us to firmly commit to a life of excellence, commanding ourselves to do what is right, separating ourselves from that which is foolish, and removing from our life that which is corrupt and destructive to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When we walk back into these streets of Baltimore, we ask Almighty God that you direct our footsteps along the straight path of regardfulness, respect, love, and the protection of all life. Give us new hearts and minds to think, new ears to hear, new eyes to see, and strong limbs to stand firmly as you guide us from darkness to light. Help us to embrace the disciplines that will ultimately lead us to excellence. Let us pray and work for the good things of this world and the grand and beautiful things of the life to come. Praise belongs to you and you alone, in all systems of knowledge. You are the one Lord of all the worlds. Let the people say, Amen.
On behalf of the police commissioner, I want to invite everyone to the atrium area. On the second floor of this building, there's going to be light refreshments served, and pictures will be taken. Great opportunity to get pictures with your family members and things like that. I ask that you remain in the auditorium, however, until all of our graduates and our command staff have departed the room. So thank you once again for having me as your MC. Sergeant, I'll let you take it over.